Let's talk about football. Oh my gosh, guys. This was Norway versus Morocco. A little bit different than I thought it would go. But take a look at the stats right now. Honestly, this was very interesting. Let me turn the lights on over here so we are not completely in the dark. Okay. So it was a tied match, but I feel like this was a very important match for Norway to understand where they're getting things wrong. It was also very important for Morocco to understand if their B team is actually going to perform as they wish. So let's talk about this from the very beginning. Starts off with Morocco scoring the first goal. Brahim Diaz scores a very interesting goal, which came from a bad pass from Norway, which honestly, I did not recognize Norway today because they were making so many mistakes defensively. They were making so many poor decisions when it came to passing, losing ball possession, and literally they did not show the game that they normally play. Don't know if it was, I don't know, lack of hydration or if it was the warmth. I have no idea what happened today because we didn't see Norway perform as they normally do. But that pass led to a good setup by Morocco and a beautiful goal by Brahim Diaz in the 8th minute. After that, we saw Norway attack Morocco and it felt like Norway was waking up until Morocco started to pressure Norway once again. So it was a game of back and forth. It was back and forth. And, honestly, I did not see Holland playing. Odegaard was also really invisible. I couldn't see them play. Honestly, I did not see anything from those guys. The best player for me was Nusa, who was doing a great job. And he was setting up the goals, not the goals because there weren't any in the first half except for Morocco. But then Morocco in the second half decided to change their team. And once they changed their team, also Norway had a few substitutions. Then the game started changing, and it felt like Norway woke up until they scored with Martin Odegaard, who showed up, in the first half, invisible, but he showed up in the second half. Holland was also very. I was questioning myself. Is he playing? Did he get subbed out? I did not see him play. I did not see him. I did not. But seriously, like literally, he didn't show up today for Norway. And a few things were going on, which, dude, what the heck was wrong with that referee? I feel like the referee was really unprepared for this. It was a very different match. It was a weird one for me because I thought that it would be a little bit different. But, anyways, I think Morocco they changed 8 or 7. They subbed 7 at the same time. And that really changed the game. And Norway started picking up their pace. And Morocco wasn't looking the same as before. But obviously, this is a friendly. And that's where both teams have to look and see where they need to fix things. Um, Leading up to this match, I always thought Norway was very good offensively, but not so good defensively. And today, I didn't see a lot of offense from Norway. Like, obviously, they did try a lot, but they were failing in the basics. And I think there was no synergy, no chemistry. And at some point, the game was very slow and very in a controlled pace. You could see that Norway was trying to keep ball possession, but at the same time, they were losing with some just weird, awkward passes. Let's look at the stats over here. Morocco had 11 shots, 4 shots on target. while Norway only had 3 shots and 1 shot on target. There were a few headers and a few close calls. In fact, there was a disallowed goal in the first half, which I honestly think it was just physical, body work. But the referee, decided it was a foul. But that was a beautiful, beautiful finish, disallowed goal. So VAR would have fixed that issue, I would suppose. And also, we saw a few rules in play today where the goalkeeper took long and there was a corner kick to Norway, which is very different, very, very dangerous. And this is a very dangerous rule, if you ask me, because if you take long, a corner kick can be very, very critical and very dangerous, as we saw today. It wasn't a goal, but it was so close. We have over here Norway with 57% of possession, while Morocco has 43% of possession. To be honest with you, I think Morocco was the better team today, leading up to the moment that they changed their reserves. And that's a kind of like not a good thing for Morocco to know that their B side is not as strong as their A side, which is normal. But as we have been seeing with other teams, such as Brazil, who's going to go against Morocco, Brazil's B team showed more strength than the A team, which is interesting to see. And it shows that Brazil can count on their reserves. In this case, also, Norway's B team looked like it had more going for them. So it will be very interesting to see how Morocco will fix that, because that change really affected them and they suffered a goal. Although they did continue on the offensive, but it wasn't as good as the first team. We had 2 fouls from Morocco, and then we had 10 fouls from Norway, playing very aggressively and kind of losing their cool, if you ask me. They were trying to get the win, but they couldn't find the goal. Then we had 1 yellow card for each side, 0 red cards. We had 1 offside on each side, and then we had 3 corners for Morocco and 11 corners for Norway. And from what I watched, Morocco was always trying to kick the ball out of play. In fact, that's how they first started. The very first kickoff was out of play so that they could restructure Norway's defensive and push everybody back so that they can really change things up for Norway. So it was interesting to see. Here we have the players who played, which we're not going to go into that, but it was very interesting. A recap. I've never seen a recap go from latest to least, so I have to go right back down over here. But okay. Kickoff. 8-minute goal. Then we had a substitution. Then we had a yellow card. Then we had another substitution, another substitution, another substitution, another substitution, another substitution. It was 18 substitutions. The whole match. And then we have a goal from Odegaard with the assist of Bob. And then we have Ikisant. Another substitution, more substitutions, and a yellow card. And that was the game. I found some of the game a little bit slow-paced and a little bit boring, just a little bit. But I feel like they did a good job in trying to identify where the mistakes were and trying to fix it. Well, at least Norway did. Morocco, I think, just played to see how it goes, right? And things were looking fresh for Morocco, and they are going to play Brazil next. And that's going to be interesting to see because Morocco looks strong. But I do think Brazil has the upper hand, and I think Brazil will win. Well, we can only hope. I can only hope. If you're watching from Morocco, good job. If you're watching from Norway, also not the best game, but good. It's these moments that you find where the mistake is so you can fix it. And Norway always looks better when it's the second half. One thing I did notice is that they had no extra time, even though they had 18 substitutions and they had the cooling break, which is an ad break, if you ask me. I told you guys in the last video when we did the rule changes, I told you this is an ad break, and the whole match, at least in my broadcast, they were saying this corner is sponsored by, and then said the name. A corner kick is sponsored by a brand nowadays, and they actually branded the cooling break. They said this cooling break is sponsored, or this hydration break is sponsored by Gatorade. I told you a hydration company would jump on that, and this is so that they can make more money, which is what football is all about now. I saw ads on top of the names of the teams on the side of the full time. And also, one of our moderators said that during the ad break, during the cooling break, there was a 1 minute ad. They cut to commercials for that. So it is what it is, right? I hope they don't spoil the game. I hope it goes back to what it was before. But anyways, let me know your thoughts. Did I miss anything? Did I forget anything? It was an interesting match, and I did think it was going to go differently. But Morocco, you guys are looking fresh. You guys are looking strong, and I can't wait to see Brazil versus Morocco. Let's see what you got. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.